Hey YouTube, he's back, and it's been a while, a good 2 months since the last video I think. I hope you're all doing well. Yeah, it's been quite a busy New Year so far. I say New Year, we're into March already, aren't we? Spring, Easter. And for the past 2 or so months, got a fair share of pickups, but it's been quite an expensive month to say at least. On the 2nd of January we had like a little mini house fire. Basically, there was smoke in the bathroom and we couldn't work out where it came from, so we called the fire brigade out and they couldn't work out where it came from either. But apparently the next working day I realised there was no power downstairs in the conservatory, and so I checked the fuse box, and even though it was still operating in some rooms, some of the fuses had actually melted. Because what it is, I've owned this house since 1991, and the fuse box was the old standard, what they call Wilex boxes, which has plug-in fuses, and it's been working fine for the past 30 odd years. But that's where the danger comes in with the complacency. If you rent property, they have to renew the fuse boxes to more modern consumer boxes, which is RCDs and stuff, which pick up any overuse of current and power and so forth and shut down. And so, they're quite, really super safe they are, the new boxes. But the old ones, the old fuses, if they take up too much power, the fuse wire would not necessarily break and basically overheat and melt, which is what happened. Two of the fuses are melted, and the smoke had seeped through into like a ventilation shaft or gap where the ventilation pipe for my go up to the bathroom. That's why the smoke was coming up into the bathroom. So yeah, so that was like on a Saturday and Sunday morning. So we had to call out the emergency electrician now, and quite an expensive bill that was, £2,000 just to replace the consumer box. But it would have been half that if it was a more of a planned change. But these things happen, and then at least the house didn't burn down. So my advice to you guys, if you own your house, if you've got an old fuse box, change it. Don't leave it. Change it, even if it costs £1,000, whatever. Do it now, because you don't want it to overheat and fail, because it will cost you a fortune. With emergency call-out fees and obviously if the house burns, a lot more. So yeah, if you've got the old-fashioned Wilex boxes, which basically where you plug in the fuses, no good. Get rid of. They're not safe. I was looking on online about consumer chat rooms. It's frightening how many people have still got a Wilex boxes, and there's like a complacency, thinking, oh, what's worked for the last 30 years will outlive me. Well, why would you expect things to last forever? Just because it's been working for the last 30-40 years doesn't mean it will last forever. So there is and I was guilty of that complacency too, really. So yeah, so make sure you've got a modern consumer box which has like the RCDs in and stuff like that, and which you can test and all sorts quite easily. Yeah, so we had to get that, and had to get a new oven shortly afterwards, and also what else? Then we went on a family holiday down to West Sussex, which was really cool. I got a pickup somewhere where I don't know where I put it. It must be. I'll show it next. I've got a nice pickup from West Sussex, which I'll show next month. I will, not this month, because I've got quite a lot to show already. Yeah, so that holiday weren't cheap. That was about a week away, and that cost another £1,000 for a family. So, and then I noticed there was problems with the car clutch. It was starting to slip, and that, what that means? New clutch. So that was like another £1,000. So basically, it's been a effing expensive New Year so far. But at the end of the day, we're all well health-wise, and especially a fuse box. That's been a lesson in itself, really. That we made you think about how much power consumption you're using, and not to overcharge plugs and everything else. I mean, kettles are really guilty. 3,000 watt kettles. That's pretty much the maximum you can have on the plug. and yeah, if you've got that money along with other devices like washing machines or dishwashers and so forth, you draw in too much energy on that socket, and that's where it puts too much pressure on the fuse box, and you know, if it's too much, it would trip with an RCD. But obviously, with an old-fashioned fuse box, not necessarily. You think the fuse will burn out? They don't. They can just melt. And yeah, so if you've got an old-fashioned fuse box, guys, definitely change it. You know, don't waste any time. I know it's inconvenient and you don't want to spend that sort of money, but you're gonna have to. Okay, where was I? Enough moaning about large expenses. Pickups. Yeah, start off with vinyls of the month, shall we? So what we got? Oh, I think I might run out of power soon, so we'll have to see how we get on. So we've got 3 records. We've got this a sort of a compilation album of tribute songs by the Cranberries called Salvation Inspired by the Cranberries. So it's got a lot of artists doing cover versions, like Sinead O'Connor doing No Need to Argue, and that's probably the most famous person on there, really. But there's a few other people, so I've not had the chance to listen to that yet, so I must do. A cheap Ollie Murs greatest hits, which came with a free CD and download codes. Like a few Ollie's songs, and anyone could recognise this album cover from this. You know, it would have been on a CD single in the day, but no, this is the All Seeing Eye. The Beat Goes On, classic song from the 90s. Okay, what else we got? A lot of people have been collecting these. I finally saw them in my local B&M. So I just got the Street Fighter one. That's all I was that bothered about. So it's a Street Fighter 2 little Ken stage diorama, you know, from a sort of Genesis or Mega Drive cartridge. And also we got Metroid. That was in Toys R Us, not Toys R Us, Smiths. Had been reduced from £10 to £6, and I went back, and eventually it got reduced to £4. So I couldn't say no when it was £4. I don't really need it, but for £4 I couldn't really leave it. On the N64, am I actually recording this? Yeah, just double checking I was actually recording. No, it was. Anyway, yeah, we got Daffy Duck, starring Duck Rogers. Quite a expensive, uncommon N64 title. To get this complete is tricky. I had to piece it with getting the box and cart from CEX and a manual from Germany in the end. So, you know, in pieces it probably cost me about £140 in total. Cheaper than the £200 which I asked for eBay for a complete copy. So, yeah, not a cheap game. Yeah, I've a few other people picked that up recently. I know Tootie picked it up about a month or 2 back. Didn't know it existed before, to be honest, until I saw it and I thought, oh, F. I do like was you know, was sort of Marvin the Martian and, you know, Duck Rogers and stuff, so I couldn't really say no to that one. This one I got cheap. I think it was about £16. Donkey Kong Classics on the NES. So it's got Donkey Kong 1 and Donkey Kong 2. This Retrobit Sega Saturn controller, which you can also use with a Switch and other things. The white version, the sort of Japanese white. That was cheap. That was about 30 quid. I finally took a bit of bullet and put this RPG on Saturn, Mysteria: The Realms of Lore, and the second game only came out in Japan. Mysteria 2, Rig Lord Saga 2. This was like a tenner, all complete. You know, it's dirt cheap for the Japanese, but obviously because it's Japanese, it's not going to get much playtime for me. I've got some Mega Drive games which I had as reproductions, and I decided to bite a bullet and upgrade to original copies. So I got the Streets of Rage trilogy. I got the first two from CX. They were the cheapest place to get them, not too bad, cheap price. The third one, boxing complete, that's trickier. I got that from Vinted in the end, and I can't remember how much that cost me. I think it was about I think it may have been between 100 and 120, but not cheap. But these two, you know, obviously more common. Because not very common games, the third one, because it came out at the end of the life of system and people weren't playing Streets of Rage for whatever reason. And the other games, the classic Fireshock and Truxton. Again, I got this, I had orders a couple of times. Got it from CEX first of all, quite cheap, but it was no manual. And then, so it was in good condition. And then I got a beat up copy that had the manual from Vinted. So I took the manual from that and traded in the beat up copy to CEX and got some money back that way. So, in a on a whole, I think it cost, in pieces, it cost me about 60. Slightly less than how much it would cost to get complete from CEX. Okay, Resident Evil. We switched to Resident Evil Requiem controller. This actually works. It doesn't say so on the box, but it does with the Switch 1. And so yeah, you can always get it as a Switch 1 controller. But I'm a bit of a Resident Evil nut, so I had to get that. Unfortunately, Resident Evil Requiem on the Switch. It's a key. It's one of those horrible key systems, isn't it? Key code things, whatever you want to call them. So you know, you don't actually have a game on a cartridge or anything. It's just a download code built into a key. So that's put me off getting that on the Switch, because you're not really buying the game, you're just buying access. But you could argue, even with disc-based game, how much of a game is actually on a disc these days? Not much. I think the days of the entire game being on a disc is well, it's pretty much over, really, isn't it? I mean, you may occasionally get them on a few PS4 titles and small games on the PS5, but I think PS3 and Xbox 360 are the only truly complete games you can get on the systems. But yeah, I think modern gaming, in a way, you are buying access, but hopefully, even if servers come down in the future, there'll be some way of, you know, playing the game still, even if you need to download patches from dodgy sites or whatever. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, systems, games. On the PS5 VR2, we have Tiger Blade. This is a Japanese exclusive sort of samurai battle type game, I think. Slash and dash and blast. Not had a chance to play that yet. But it's for my VR2, and I am going for the VR2 complete physical set. Okay, on the Xbox Series X and Series 1, we've got House of Dead 2 remake, and also we've got Resident Evil 3 here with the Lentricular sleeve. Now you may think, well, what's so special about that? To get this game on with a ventricular sleeve is not easy. It's very expensive to get complete on eBay. People are asking a stupid amount of money for it, about £60–70. So the best way of doing it is try to piece them together. So obviously you can pick up a game, you know, for a tenner or whatever from the shops. And the sleeve, just look out for someone saying the sleeve by itself. I managed to buy a bundle of sleeves for about 17 quid for about 4 different sleeves, and so I was able to piece it together that way. But Resident Evil 3 ventricular sleeve, if you ever see it in the shops, mate, for cheap, get it and resell it on eBay, because you'll make a nice profit on that. Okay, Switch. This came out about 2 months ago, and it's the Operation Night Striker collection, Assault Edition. So you've got Operation Wolf, Operation Thunderbolt, Night Striker and Space Gun. I got this from CX. It's Lone Wolf Collection by Super Rare Games. Lone Wolf was like one of those choose your own adventure games books. I mean, from the 80s. I got this game because the art style is very cool. It's Getsufumo Den Undying Moon. It's by Konami. So the art style. It's very retro. It reminds me of a lot of old school Saturn games. So that's probably the reason I got that, and it being Konami. Nintendo Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. That's quite cheap. I think that's about 25. Detective Pikachu Returns. I think that was about 25 too. And this game from PlayAsia. This is Ivelo Swamp Happy Together. It's like a bullet hell game. Part of the Ivelo Swamp sort of strategy type series. Okay. Oh, another piece of hardware I forgot to show. Got this Cheap and Smiths. It's for C64 Black Edition. It has some really good homebrew games on it. I don't have a C64. So I was reminded to get a sort of mini version of it, and obviously you can download digital copies of all the game catalogue. And this one's supposed to be a slightly better controller compared to the original cream coloured bread bin one that came out years ago. So that's supposed to be a slight improvement on it. Okay. PS4. A lot of these games I can't necessarily remember how much they were now, it's been such a time, but they all pretty much bargain prices as they were. So we've got Crash Bandicoot 4, All About Time. FIFA 23, only got this because I think this is like the last FIFA game that actually says FIFA as opposed to F. Little Nightmares 3, classic game. Hello Neighbor 2. Plant vs Zombie Garden Warfare. I know you. This is like an online function that doesn't really work anymore because of servers down. Pac-Man World Repack. Asterix and Obelix Slap 'em All 2. I got this cheap Streets of Rage 4, but this is obviously the anniversary edition. So definitely got a lot of Streets of Rage this month. I had the standard Streets of Rage on a PS4, but I thought I'd get that special version. This game looked interesting. It was 3D mini golf. That was probably about £6. Chronos Before the Ashes. A good fantasy game. Motocross GP 3. I tend to get with Motocross GP games. The Bleach games, Rebirth of Souls. I think that was £20, but you don't see that often. That's quite an uncommon game. Hasbro Fun Pack, 4 games in 1. That was dirt cheap. Yeah, I got this cheap as well. Double Dragon Gaiden or Gaiden Rise of the Dragons. Nice shooter. God Strike. Bit of bullet hell. Star Ocean R, the second story R. It's a remake of the second story, I think. Hence the R. Far Cry Primal. I had this standard edition, but this I got an alternative cover version, like a special edition. That was only £6, so I just thought, sod it. Saw that in CX. I thought I've not seen that cover one before, so I might as well get that. Five Nights at Freddy's Into a Pit. This has got quite an interesting take on the game with like almost like little 16-bit graphics, so SNES looking. And to go with the Siberia games, we've got Siberia The World Before on the PS4. Okay, then last but not least to a PS5, we've got, this is that cheap, Justice League Cosmic Chaos. Probably rubbish, but it's a superhero game, so I couldn't say no. part of a Shin Megami Tensei series. Raidu Remastered: The Mystery of a Soulless Army. A interesting horror game. Do not open, hide, solve, and die. So it's a bit of a stealthy puzzle type horror game. And then we've got a steelbox edition of the Monster Hunter Wilds. Big Buck Ultimate Trophy. So it's a bit of a shooting type game. Where you've got two nice innocent animals. Not sure whether that's a good idea really, but hey ho. It's supposed to be quite good fun. Finding Frankie on a PS5 is supposed to be quite a cool, quirky horror type game, I think. Funny enough. Like Five Nights at Freddy's type style, I think. Fatal Fury City of the Wolves, the deluxe edition. I had this on PS4, but I managed to get this box set, this multi box set, which is really heavy. It's got steel books and loads of stuff in it. Quite cheap. It was about 20 quid. Go with my PSVR compatible collection, Tin Hearts. I have this as part of a box set which comes with 2 titles, but picked it up on its own. We got Space Marine as well. That's supposed to be quite good. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order on the PS5. Had it on the PS4. This looked like an interesting game. Got cheap from CX Death's Door. And also from CX I've got cheap all complete is the Double Dragon Revive Collection Deluxe Edition that has the steel book and art cards and all sorts. So that looks really nice and it was quite cheap. Retro Chef showed this up on clip. Yeah, he showed us. He did. Robocop Rogue City 2-box collection that includes a steel book. I've got the standalone games, but I wouldn't. No, Robocop. I'll get all the variants for Robocop. I played the first game. It weren't bad. It weren't great, but it weren't bad. It was a good 7 out of 10 game. There's this. I haven't played the second one yet, so I'm working around to it. Fast and Furious Arcade Edition. This has been going up and down in price. I managed to get it for 15 quid from Smiths in the end, so I picked it up while it was cheap, but that does go up and down in price. This looks like an interesting horror game, sort of a hide and puzzle type one, I think. Selfie puzzle horror. Puppet House. This looks like an interesting game. It's got the late Michael Madsen and Chuck Norris and quite a few celebrities. I guess it's supposed to be a bit of like a GTA type clone, even though GTA is massive. Don't know if it's particularly got great ratings, but it looked like an interesting title that was got that cheap. The second Darkest Dungeon game. This came out in a nice little box set with sleeve and stuff. I got the first one on the PS4. We got the House of Dead 2 Infected Edition for PS5. Get those on multi-systems. Siberia Remastered and with a nice art book, like a book edition. This looked like a really interesting horror game. It's live action. It's like Resident Evil, but sort of kind of underwater type thing. But it's like a live action Telltale's game. That's how I sort of interpret it. I think. So yeah, looked interesting. It was Dead Reset. Again, it was quite cheap. And got a couple of horror combinations. Now on the PS5 there's tons. There is literally, a good 100 or so horror games at least. you know, I know some people go for a full horror set on the PS5. Good luck to you. I think it's more achievable on the PS4, but on the PS5 there's just so many. But these two looked interesting in the sense that they're combinations. So we've got Nightmare Box 1, which has got Nightmares, No Son of Mine, and Remorseless. And also we've got Nightmare Box Volume 2, Burnhouse Lane, Dagon Complete Edition, which I think is like a H.P. Lovecraft title, and Anglerfish. Now, there is another combination that has in the States that has some of these games, but I know that combination does have a Dagon 2, and it may have No Son of Mine as well. So it's like so these two power editions. Yeah, they're probably the best way of getting those sort of games, I would say, as opposed to the American standalone one. Okay, and that American one's not called Nightmare Box, it's got some other title as a compilation, but I remember it does have Dagon and at least a H.P. Lovecraft game. Okay, that's it guys, that's all my pickups for the last couple of months. Hell of a lot, you know, I agree. But I hope you're all doing well. I hope you know, looking forward to nicer weather. It's been lousy weather-wise, hasn't it, in the UK? But I guess in some ways there's bigger things going on in the world for us to worry about. But hey ho, as long as you know, as long as we get by and our loved ones are okay, that's the most important, isn't it? Okay, and guys, you take care. Until next time, bye.